This chapter, chapter 7, is about cleaning the horizontal laminar airflow hood. So some historical background. First, let's talk about Leeuwenhoek just for a moment. So Leeuwenhoek was a scientist from the 1600s who pretty much made the first kind of microscope. So he identified microbes, both protozoal and the bacteria, as we identify them today, with three separate shapes, the cocci, bacilli, and spirochetes. So he also determined that these microbes cannot survive in heat. They didn't survive his hot coffee. So that also gave us heat sterilization or that process. Then it leads into Lister, Joseph Lister, who 200 years later found the connection between the microorganisms and the transmission of disease, and who also worked with disinfectants, which now, of course, we know as Listerine. So those chemical disinfectants and infection control, with some historical background in that, discovering sodium hypochlorite, which occurred in the 1700s. Now, sodium hypochlorite is a fancy word for bleach. So that's one of the first chemical disinfectants. It was actually technically the second, but that means it was one of the first. And we still use it today. So we can use that as a disinfectant that helps to kill microbes and help control infection. They could use it to clean equipment and sterilize the room. Now, phenols, which are also known as carbolic acid, came about in the 1800s, and we would use that as an antiseptic to treat wounds. So the technical difference between a disinfectant and an antiseptic. Disinfectants are used on inanimate objects, like surfaces, where an antiseptic can be used on the skin. Not all disinfectants are safe on the skin. They can cause damage, which is what we later found with some of this carbolic acid. Now, other ways to prevent infection include sterilization. So basically, sterilization can occur with three different ways. Heat, as was identified by Leeuwenhoek, and then also Pasteur with pasteurization. Chemical, using something like hypochlorite or phenol, would be chemical sterilization. And then we also have filtration. So if we can't put it through a heat process like an autoclave, because it would damage the product, like some sterile products, we can use filtration. Now, in our compounding, that would be, if we use filtration, that would be a high-risk compound, which means that something was not sterile. So, disinfectants, today we use alcohol. Originally, for the alcohol, they would use ethanol, and now we primarily use at least a 70% isopropyl alcohol, or what we commonly call IPA. And we use this to clean our work surface areas, or a better term is to disinfect our work surface areas. We also use it to wipe down any of the products that we'll be bringing into that clean room. We can also use hydrogen peroxide, and then ammonia has also been used. We mostly don't use those in the hospital setting. And like I said, an antiseptic is something that's generally used on the skin. Iodine would be an example of that. Now, alcohol can be both an antiseptic and a disinfectant. All right, so the objectives for Chapter 7, to gain awareness of the early cleanliness methods and disinfection processes, which is what I just described. Understand the rationale for using a hood when preparing sterile products. Describe the components of the horizontal laminar airflow hood. Explain the proper methods for cleaning that hood. And then demonstrate excellent techniques. So that part will be completed in the lab, and there will be a process validation. So in the introduction of this chapter, in addition to adhering to strict aseptic protocol in the anteroom and clean room procedures, the technician must ensure that the interior of the laminar airflow hood also is free of contaminants. And we do that by cleansing and then disinfecting the hood. So the proper cleaning, in this case of the laminar airflow hood, is vital to helping maintain the sterility of those compounded sterile products. So getting prepared to clean the hood starts in the anteroom. So the anteroom is in the clean room, but we start getting ready in the anteroom. So for the anteroom, the essential supplies, a pen or a pencil, could be like a Sharpie, sterile foam, 70% IPA, aseptic garbing, such as shoe covers, hair covers, face mask, beard cover, if appropriate, and sterile garb, such as your sterile gown. Other essential items include supplies needed for aseptic hand washing. So the appropriate cleansing unit like chlorhexidine, aseptic, lint-free disposable towels, or an aseptic hand dryer. We want to gather our supplies in the anteroom. Now anything that we're going to be taking into the clean room must be wiped down. So the outside of the containers must be wiped down with alcohol. So if we're taking water in to clean, if we're taking alcohol in to clean, if we're taking a packaging, anything that's in a package would need to be wiped down. We can spray those in the anteroom. We never use spray in the clean room for the hood itself. We can use it to clean it, to sanitize our gloves. We can also use pre-saturated cleaning wipes, and just the process is to remove any kind of contaminants or any dust that may have accumulated on our products. We also will don our PPE in the anteroom. We'll perform our hand washing procedures and then put on our sterile gown. So what we've completed in Chapter 6. So hood cleaning supplies that are specific, using pre-saturated cleaning wipes to avoid the introduction of contaminants to the clean room. The exterior surface of the supply item must be wiped down. The items should be allowed to dry before taking them into the clean room. For the clean room essential supplies, what we'll find in the clean room include sterile foam IPA or some spray IPA, sterile powder-free gloves, a waste container, a sharps container, and of course our hood. The hood must be cleaned with lint-free, non-shedding aseptic wipes. So you could use these wipes or you can substitute sterile gauze. We actually have large wipes and we're going to bring them into the hood. We don't need 10 to 12. We actually will fold our wipe and we'll learn that process in practice. If we do have gauze, you want to bring about a 4-inch stack so that we can clean the hood properly. And I'll also describe that process. Sterile water is used to clean the hood, to remove any sticky compounds, anything that won't be dissolved by the isopropyl alcohol. So we have to sometimes clean it first. We may also have some antimicrobial agent in our sterile water. Now once we open that sterile water, we pour it out onto our aseptic wipes, but we also will put a 24-hour beyond use date once that product is open. The sterile IPA that we use is the disinfecting agent. It kills or inhibits the growth of the microorganisms. It usually comes in a 473 milliliter bottle that we would pour. It can be recapped, and we don't want to ever touch the mouth of the water or the alcohol to the swabs. We want to just pour it till it's saturated but not overly dripping. And then we recap it before removing it from the laminar airflow hood. All right, now it's time for some questions.